In the last video, we said that MicroStrategy would behave in a certain way, and it has. In this video, we're going to explain why we think this area of Bitcoin is key and will define its future. On the screen, we have the Bitcoin chart in a 4-hour time frame. As you may recall, for several weeks now, we've been positive and have accompanied the price movement upwards. Here's a little spoiler: we remain positive on Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto ecosystem. But let's leave Bitcoin aside for now and focus on analyzing Solana, which is giving us a lot of relevant information. On the screen, we also have the chart in a 4-hour time frame. What we can see here from the outside in is that after this sharp decline, we've been able to anchor a creek here. This creek corresponds to what we are evaluating as a macro accumulation process. At the same time, let's zoom in a bit more, and we can see that within this accumulation process, we have a micro accumulation process where we see its creek here, followed by its breakout, a breakout that has been extremely strong. This is something we often see, and it aligns with what we call an advanced directive. We call this directive advanced because it gives us early information about what we believe will happen in the future, which would be the breakout of the main creek. Moreover, what we are seeing is that after the very strong breakout of this creek, we would have liked to see a test on the creek, but as we can already see, this test has failed. We've had a gap here. Therefore, this gives us even more bullish strength, as what we're seeing here is selling weakness. What else does this chart show us? On the other hand, the price is currently being compressed over the main creek. This compression over the creek I just mentioned is typical behavior before seeing a breakout to the upside. But of course, we don't have a crystal ball, and we're not going to guess what's happening. Instead, we will rely on the structures we have to be able to follow up. In this case, we will track it with this defense zone. Therefore, based on everything I just explained, what we expect is for this defense zone to continue to be respected. Of course, why not? We could see a trap around it, which after confirmation would give us even more strength to seek that bullish push we're expecting. Now, let's analyze the BNB chart, but first.
Welcome to Crypto Insight, your ethical and moral channel for cryptocurrency technical analysis. Here, we really know what we're talking about. We conduct advanced technical analysis that has been developed for over 12 years. We upload videos several times a week. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, let me know and leave a comment with your opinion. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell so you don't miss the next opportunity.
We have the BNB chart on the screen, also in a 4-hour time frame. Here, we're also evaluating a macro accumulation process in which we've already seen an upward breakout. Currently, we're evaluating this micro process as its flat pattern. And what do we always expect after a flat pattern? We expect the price to react upwards. In this case, we say upwards because what we're analyzing here is an accumulation process. So what we could expect is for the price to move up, maintaining the stance I mentioned earlier, which is the same one we've held for a couple of weeks now, focusing on going long. But as you know, we don't have a crystal ball. And of course, we're going to be skeptical of anyone who claims they do. So what are we going to do? We're going to follow the structures. Cross-analysis with other assets will also be very important here. Therefore, maintaining this bullish stance and our positive view of the market, we expect the price to react and continue upwards. However, as we just saw with Solana, if there's a trap below the defense zone, it would mean that in BNB, liquidity is being sought by re-entering the structure before moving up again. But what would we need to see here to change our view? We're not only going to look at BNB, but also cross-reference it with other assets. Why am I telling you this? Those who regularly watch our videos know that traps are quite common. Traps and accumulation processes. And how would this be a trap? We could confirm it as a trap if the price isn't yet ready and continues forming the accumulation process, but if the traps hint at future upward breakouts. And why am I explaining this? So that we can stay alert to how the price reacts, how it reacts in each of the structures we're evaluating. And shortly, we'll cross-reference it with the information from Bitcoin when we analyze its chart. Now, let's move on to the Ethereum chart. We're also looking at the 4-hour time frame. Here we'll see several similarities with the charts we just analyzed. We can see how after this drop, we're also anchoring a creek here, over which we're evaluating an accumulation process. This means we're expecting this process to break to the upside. Continuing with the logic I mentioned earlier, we've been positive for several weeks now across the entire crypto market. And within this macro accumulation structure, we also have a micro accumulation process here. Here we have its creek, which at the same time we consider an advanced directive of the preceding creek. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it's called an advanced directive because it gives us early information indicating that just as this structure broke upwards, this one is also likely to break upwards. We will rely on two different structures here to track the price. Therefore, we have a defense zone and we also have the supply line. This supply line, as you can see, has been fully respected. What we can expect here is that the price continues and eventually seeks that upward movement. It doesn't have to be immediate. You might ask why we have a defense zone if we already have a supply line. We do this as a precaution, as I mentioned with the previous assets, since there could be drops, as we saw in Solana, where traps may occur below the defense zone, and in Binance, we talked about liquidity re-entry. So if we see this supply line break, our analysis suggests it wouldn't be catastrophic as we could still expect a reaction in this area. However, it would then aim to push higher. Let's move on to the Bitcoin chart, and we'll zoom out a bit while keeping the 4-hour time frame. This will allow us to observe the broader picture, where we remain in that bullish zigzag pattern as the directive hasn't been broken. At a macro level, this also strengthens our bullish outlook. Now, let's zoom in. From a larger scale to a smaller one, let's break down this chart. Right here, what I'm highlighting is a directive we expect to break upwards, leaving us with this macro structure as a bullish reaccumulation process. Zooming in further, we see another directive here. This directive is simply the creak of this bullish accumulation process, which is already broken upwards. Additionally, it's an advanced directive of the upper directive, as it's giving us early signs of a future upward breakout, according to our analysis. Let me pause here to show you how this accumulation process had a trap, which gave us an early signal of its breakout to the upside. Here too, as with the other assets, we will track the price, in this case with a supply line, which has been respected in every instance and from which we expect the price to react and aim for that upward movement. But what happens if we see that this line is not respected? Not respecting this line wouldn't be catastrophic because, as we just reviewed, other assets still have room for potential drops. Therefore, with a cross analysis, this would align with coming to test this defense zone or even a trap below it before aiming for that upward movement. The size of the structure in this accumulation process would even allow the price to revisit the origin of the breakout and then continue. And here's the big question: what do we need to see to change our mind? What would we have to expect to shift from the positive outlook we currently have to a different type of analysis? That would be the loss of the breakout origin. Without talking about catastrophes, losing this point would give us a different perspective. Let's return to Binance to cross-reference this information, which would be the equivalent of confirming that this structure, which we are now viewing as a flat pattern, is confirmed as a trap, and the accumulation process continues to form. So I repeat, and going back to the Bitcoin chart for clarity, we remain positive on the entire ecosystem. We'll be expecting, sooner rather than later, that famous breakout to the upside from these structures, and we'll be closely monitoring how the price reacts to the structures we've already analyzed in detail. If you enjoyed this advanced technical analysis, let me know in the comments. Also, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell so you don't miss any future analyses. Share this video with your friends and other trading and cryptocurrency communities so more people can continue to grow in their trading strategies. Good luck with your positions, and see you next time.